Let's face it, gentlemen, sometimes the hardest thing to see is right in front of us. When a woman is done with you, her actions speak louder than words. In this video, we'll explore 11 clear indicators that a woman has emotionally checked out of the relationship. Consider this your early warning system, your guide to recognizing the signs before it's too late. 1. She stops initiating conversations. Have you noticed that you're always the one initiating conversations? You send the first text, you call first, you're constantly reaching out, hoping for a spark. Gentlemen, this is a major red flag. When a woman is invested in you and the relationship, she wants to talk to you, she craves connection. And that means putting in the effort to reach out, to share her day, to hear about yours. Relationships are a two-way street. If you find yourself consistently the one initiating contact, if it feels like pulling teeth to get her to engage in a meaningful conversation, it's time to ask yourself some tough questions. Is she truly interested, or is she just going through the motions out of obligation or habit? Is she still invested in the relationship, or has her heart already moved on? Remember, gentlemen, you deserve someone who is just as excited to talk to you as you are to talk to them. 2. Her responses become short and distant. You pour your heart out in a text, sharing something that's important to you, and her response? A single emoji, or worse, the dreaded K. When a woman is emotionally checked out, her communication style shifts. The once warm, engaging conversations become clipped and distant. She responds with one-word answers, avoids asking follow-up questions, and generally seems disinterested in what you have to say. If her responses are consistently short and distant, if she seems more interested in her phone than in you when you're together, it's time to take notice. Address the issue head-on, have an open and honest conversation about what's going on, and see if you can re-establish that vital spark. 3. She avoids spending time with you. Remember when you first started dating? How you couldn't wait to see each other, how every date felt like an adventure. Fast forward to now, and it feels like pulling teeth just to get her to agree to a simple dinner date. When a woman is invested in you, she wants to spend time with you. But when she's emotionally checked out, spending time with you feels like an obligation, a chore on her to-do list that she'd rather skip. Pay attention to her excuses. Are they vague, always changing, or suspiciously convenient? Does she consistently cancel plans at the last minute, leaving you feeling like a backup option? If you find yourself constantly on the back burner, it's time to have an honest conversation about where you stand. Ask yourself, are you content with being a low priority in her life, or do you deserve someone who is just as excited to spend time with you as you are with them? 4. She no longer argues or cares about problems. Remember those passionate debates, the fiery disagreements that always ended in make-up cuddles? While no one enjoys arguing, those disagreements were a sign that you both cared. But lately, the silence has been deafening. When a woman is emotionally checked out, she stops sweating the small stuff, but more importantly, she stops caring about the big stuff. This apathy is a dangerous sign. It suggests that she's no longer invested in fighting for the relationship. If you find yourself in this situation, it's crucial to address the elephant in the room. Break the silence, initiate a conversation, and try to re-engage her on an emotional level. 5. She spends more time on her phone around you. You're out to dinner, supposedly enjoying a romantic evening, but instead of engaging in conversation, she's glued to her phone. When a woman is emotionally checked out, her phone becomes her escape hatch. It's a way to disengage from the relationship, to avoid meaningful conversation, to fill the silence with something, anything, other than genuine connection. If you constantly find yourself competing with a 6-inch screen for her attention, it's time to have a serious conversation about the state of your relationship. Ask yourself, is this the kind of connection you truly want? One where you're constantly vying for her attention? You deserve someone who prioritizes you over a screen. 6. She stops talking about the future together. Remember when you'd spend hours daydreaming about the future, planning trips, talking about your dreams and aspirations, picturing a life together? Now, the future seems to be a topic she avoids. When a woman is invested in you, she sees a future with you. However, when she's emotionally checked out, the future becomes a solitary endeavor. Pay attention to her language. Have the we statements been replaced with I statements? If you find that the future is a topic she avoids, that your presence in her life beyond the present moment seems uncertain, it's time to have an open and honest conversation. Ask her directly where she sees the relationship heading and be prepared to face the possibility that her vision may no longer align with yours. 7. Physical affection disappears. Remember the days when you couldn't keep your hands off each other, when every touch sent shivers down your spine? Now, physical intimacy feels like a distant memory. When a woman is emotionally checked out, the first casualty is often physical intimacy. The once passionate embraces become fleeting pecks on the cheek. The spontaneous hand-holding is replaced with crossed arms and a noticeable distance. This lack of physical touch isn't just about a lack of sex drive, it's a symptom of a deeper emotional disconnect. If you find yourself in this situation, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Address the issue with sensitivity and understanding. Initiate a conversation about the lack of intimacy and try to understand the root cause of her withdrawal. 8. She spends more time with friends or alone. Remember when you were the center of her universe, when she couldn't wait to introduce you to her friends? Now it seems like she's constantly busy with other people, always finding excuses to spend time away from you. It's healthy for couples to have their own lives, to nurture friendships, and to enjoy some alone time. However, when a woman consistently chooses the company of others over spending quality time with you, it's a red flag. If you notice that she's constantly making plans that don't involve you, that she'd rather spend her free time with anyone but you, it's time to have an honest conversation about the state of your relationship. Ask yourself, are you content with being the last option on her list? You deserve someone who prioritizes spending quality time with you. 9. Her patience with you runs thin. Remember when she used to find your quirks endearing, when your little habits brought a smile to her face? Now it seems like everything you do sets her off. When a woman is emotionally checked out, her patience often wears thin. The things she used to find charming now become annoying. The habits she used to tolerate now feel like personal attacks. If you notice that she's constantly on edge, that even the smallest things seem to trigger an overreaction, it's important to approach the situation with sensitivity and compassion. Don't take her outbursts personally, but don't ignore them either. Try to understand the root cause of her frustration and see if you can address the underlying issues that are causing this shift in her behavior. 10. She becomes secretive. Remember when you were her confidant, her partner in crime, the one she shared everything with? Now, it seems like she's built a wall around herself. Trust and transparency are the cornerstones of any strong relationship. However, when a woman starts becoming secretive, it erodes that foundation and creates a breeding ground for suspicion, doubt, and mistrust. While it's important to respect her privacy, this sudden shift towards secrecy should raise a red flag. If you notice that she's become increasingly secretive, don't jump to conclusions or accuse her of wrongdoing. Instead, approach the situation with empathy and understanding. Initiate an open and honest conversation about what's led to this shift in her behavior, and see if you can rebuild the trust and transparency that's essential for a healthy and fulfilling relationship. 11. She talks about needing space or taking a break. The words hit you like a punch to the gut. I need space. Or maybe it's a variation on the theme. Let's take a break. When a woman utters these words, it's rarely a spur-of-the-moment decision. It's usually the culmination of weeks, months, or even years of unspoken dissatisfaction. While it's easy to panic, to plead with her to stay, to make grand promises of change, it's important to understand that her need for space is valid. This doesn't necessarily mean the relationship is over, but it does mean that you need to tread carefully. Give her the space she needs to process her emotions, and use this time to reflect on your own role in the relationship. This period of separation can be an opportunity for growth, both individually and as a couple, but only if you're willing to honestly assess the situation and make the necessary changes. Recognizing these signs early can help you address issues before they become insurmountable. If you notice these behaviors, it might be time to have an open and honest conversation about the future of your relationship. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, relationships reach their natural conclusion. It's important to remember that you deserve to be with someone who chooses you, who is just as invested in the relationship as you are.